So, I just had, like, I guess some 13-year-olds or whatever give me, like, $5. They saw me while I was, walking by in this shopping center, because my spot's near the shopping center. And it's really reminiscent of another situation that was a little before I ran away, when I was able to get some 12-year-olds to give me, like, I think they gave me $2 or something like that, but I mean, everything counts because it went towards my initial run. And luckily, I was able to get this supposed 19-year-old, because that's a long story. I actually have a video about that dude. He was a nice person, though. Still don't know how old he really was. Especially because, at least now, apparently, to open a Cash App for somebody, you have to be 13 plus years older than them. But to make a long story short, I don't really know about that dude. But anywho, so I was able to go towards, like, me saving up for the trans phone stuff I was going to need to escape my abuse situation and the Cash for Kids system. And I had met them on the campus of this school that I had to go to after months of bull crap and sabotage trying to figure out how to get a GED, because I was being made to feel like that even mattered or was important when it's not at all. But I or at least by other people, not by my relatives. I had already wanted one before people were telling me to try to get it if it was possible, but I mean, crap, ever since that video of me cutting all that bull crap up, which I actually forgot about. I don't even remember what video that was or what it was titled. I think that was just like the background clip of me talking about something, but I don't remember what I was talking about. And it wasn't even that long ago either. But anyhow, I was at that school and I was leaving because I just finished my last test, I think. And I think I even told them I was about to run away, and they gave me $2. Well, I think I asked for some money, to be honest, or either I asked for something to eat, one of those things. That was when I was still really into the gaslighting, that I wasn't very obviously chronically ill, which I have my whole mitochondrial dysfunction playlist, and I'm about to make another video about the clinical trial, quote unquote, that I just ran. But anywho, I had really, really bad hypoglycemia that I was being very much gaslit about, and I was hungry all the time, so it was one of those things. And that situation just reminded me of that. And this isn't going to make sense to, like, anybody, probably. I kind of already wanted to cry even since some hours ago, although throughout my life I typically can't, because of course we're all most of us are conditioned starting as like a toddler or maybe even younger that you're not allowed to cry. And then there's the whole I'll give you something to cry about if you cry while I'm already giving you something to cry about thing. And so this wasn't one of my first splits, but I'll say one of the first ones I remember is the one where I can't cry or feel pain. And I know I used to talk about that a lot in the abuse evidence channels, because that was one of the things that was used against me at the beginning of the Cash for Kids system abuse, that I couldn't feel pain until physical punishment didn't work on me. And that was one of the things that led to some of the first couple of labels. But anywho, there's even a racial side to that. I'm sure people may already know about the whole racial history with eugenics and the whole quote-unquote black people can't feel pain thing. But unfortunately, Jezebelic people are house and even field niggers, and they will side with Jezebelic white supremacists and sabotage, not even just sabotage, just to like abuse their victims pretty much. Because even since running away, like a lot of the racial situations that I've ran into, especially in Cali on a daily, all-day basis, the constant 911 calls, the I saw the video being told, go back to Mexico, you nigger, ever since literally my first day there. Those things made me really look back at certain things that happened during the Cash for Kids system abuse and realize how racial those things were. Or a lot of those situations were that happened, not even just in the Cash for Kids system, but just with primary care physicians and stuff in general. Just all those people. And I mean, the school system part was obvious, but now that I've went on that little rant, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just so flashbacky. Like, even though, I mean, like, yeah, I definitely was nowhere near 12, but, like, even that whole situation before I ran away with those 12-year-olds giving me $2 or whatever, it reminded me of, like, just how much the drugging and being locked up had always affected me, even though I hadn't even been in anywhere near as many Cash for Kids system placements. I can't really pronounce anything right now, but I haven't been anywhere near as much of those as, like, majority of the people that I knew in the Cash for Kids system. They had been in 30 different placements and TTIs and all types of stuff, in human trafficking, prisons, like the placements or the quote-unquote hospitals you get put in when you're supposed to be a victim of exploitation, where they abuse you there too. This wasn't even sexual abuse, so it's just the usual bullcrap that they do, like locking people in padded rooms and stuff. But, like, I met plenty of people that had been in all those things, and I wasn't even drugged as long as, like, most people are. Like, even during the evidence channels, I would always mention that looking back, I don't even think I was drugged for a full year. It was only from mid-12 to, like, early 14, and I still ended up severely chronically ill. And that's interesting as well. But it's like, I don't know, I've just been thinking a lot about how I knew by the time I was 10 that my life was already over. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it's just like certain things I'm never gonna, me and even other people I know are never gonna get to do. Like, I'm even thinking about this girl I know who I mentioned kind of often during the Drownifal Agenda videos, because she's the reason that I really made my first video in that series, I guess I could call it. But I think about her, and if I'm not mistaken, she should be, like, she turned 18 this month, I think. And she's one of the many people I know who's been in the different situations where you pretty much can't go to school. And I already talked about that whole thing with, like, that stuff. Like, crap, I even watched somebody who just do the different things. They talk about having to go to online school and how they feel like they're missing out on their teen years and stuff. And something that I've been realizing and thinking about a lot the past months is how, like, even people that haven't been in a lot of, like, human cash cow, extreme stuff, trap type situations, due to the obvious fact, even to non, like, I guess I could say maybe non-spiritual people, like, I just see all types of people making these videos and posts and talking about how they feel like they're behind and they're missing out on this and missing out on that. Some of that is effects of social media, but people just feeling, like, isolated and like their life is already over and they don't have a chance due to the economy. I've been thinking a lot about how it's really interesting that even people that say they have decent situations and decent family and living situations and stuff like that, even those people feel a lot of the ways that people that have been or are in, like, some really deep stuff, how they feel. Hopefully that even came out right. I don't know if it did or not, but that's been really interesting to me as well. Like, hearing even people that aren't like some people I've known who aren't like locked in a closet most of their life or most of the day, not allowed to go anywhere. Like, even people who aren't in situations like that, they feel like they're isolated and stuff like that. And it's really interesting, because like oftentimes people in like really not ideal situations, they feel like they're alone in these types of feelings. But apparently, like, it's a global thing. Well, I mean, it is kind of global, but certain places it's worse than others. Because like one of the things about it is that people know they can feel the shift. I know I felt the shift since 2019, really. I just felt like something was coming, and that especially things were going to get worse for like my own personal situation. But I just felt like a bigger shift, just like in general, like a spiritual dimension shifting type thing. Anywho, the point I was getting at though is that, like I've talked about before, since running away and escaping my abuse, I've had more time to think about what I guess I could consider maybe age appropriate things, although I do kind of feel maybe it's age regression. But it's like, people only expect you to have a house and a car and different things like that at ages where nobody would even rent to you when you're a street kid, because people feel like since you're in this situation, you need to be on a different mindset that nobody would expect, even out of like someone your age who like lives with their parents. And there's also the side of people assuming that like I'm way older than I am, at least since I've been in the South, but that's kind of irrelevant typically, I think. But so it's like, I don't know what all is really just age regression and being developmentally delayed and what's really like age appropriate. But it's like, I don't know why I sometimes think about the whole, what if I was like living like the stereotypical lifestyle that I feel isn't even really that common these days. People don't even come outside anymore. But what if I was having that type of situation? And I feel like it's such a stupid thought, because I know that I've only ever gotten along with people decades older than me, mostly due to the fact that I have to do so much masking around them and chameleon effect. And I think about like I don't know, like even a little while ago I saw something on Eventbrite, and like I don't even listen to music, and I saw this like rock event type thing that's for like, I guess, emo people or whatever. And I keep dissociating every 2 seconds. But anywho, I was thinking about going to that. I don't think I had any transportation. I can't really remember though. Then I was like, but I don't know, because I don't even think I like it. I'd probably just stand there. And I just thought about going to it just because. Then I've been having a midlife crisis really since like 14. But it's like I definitely felt like time was ticking down, and I had to like try to like do teenager type things and like try to like find people to talk to at the skate park before like I'm too old, and then it's just weird, or supposedly weird, because I mean typically it's not even really that it's weird. I mean, there's the drawing-foul agenda that also makes me feel a little like nervous about doing anything kind of, but it's also the fact that like due to my situation, people are gonna always feel like I'm so much like older and I'm supposed to be so much more mature than I really am, because it's like I've talked about before, there's also this thing where like sometimes people just see you as grown because you're on your own, and then it's like weird stuff that can go along with that. But I don't even really want to get into that again. It's just like I felt like that and it's like it's still so weird though, because I remember like living in places that people consider the hood, since like a lot of people go outside and they're outside all day, like everybody of different ages will hang out together, but it's just like you're gonna be, even if it's not even a full year or anything like that, you don't have to be a year older than the person, but like when you're in like the street kid type situation, it's just gonna be so much different, because at the end of the day nobody wants the homeless person around their kids anyways. And then it's still gonna be weird because I never did get along with people my age anyhow, and so I know I just get bullied even if I did find like a space of people that are like around my age. And then it's just so weird though, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's kind of like I've just been having this like running out of time feeling. And like I've been thinking about how I really like I wanted to KMS before I turned 10, because I wasn't even before that, because like I wasn't really sure what the age of accountability was, so I was trying to like figure out what it was so I could hurry up and do it before then. But that didn't end up happening. But it's like now I know it's way too late for that, so now I just got to figure something else out. But it's always going to be really, really weird though. Like, I don't even know how else to put it. It's like, even thinking about the whole thing of like wishing I could have went to school, it's like it's so weird because I know that it's indoctrination. I know I would just get bullied. I know that I'm way too chronically ill, which I'm going to go into in a video that I'm thinking about making, where I'm going to talk about the hypothalamus dysfunction and POTS and stuff like that, and how like things are starting to make even more sense when it comes to certain things. Like, aside from the metabolic issues, like I can't sit in like a chair for all those hours, and it's like it's just so weird though. And then it's like as you get older, when you're like talking about wishing you could go to high school, then dude, wait a minute. With that and like people's obsession with the pedo word and the dronophile agenda, people want to try to like make it into something really, really weird that it doesn't have to be. And it's like, it's just, I just hate the whole dronophile thing and people's obsession with the pedo stuff and that word in general. It's just so annoying, because it's like I constantly try to like make the point that it causes so many issues and so much bullcrap in general, but especially to people that haven't been in like the typical situation, there's just so many things with that just makes people try to point you out as like something you're not, over just like trying to talk about real issues. Like a lot of people, they feel some type of way about not getting to go to high school and stuff. And I know like it was a good thing for me and my situation and other people that come to mind when I talk about this. Not even just that girl that I just mentioned, kind of, but even other people. It would have never worked out for so many reasons. But it's just like, just the constant re-realization that like my life has been over pretty much. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I know what people may think if anybody even watches this, but it's like, I don't mean over. I just mean like it's definitely over in many, many ways. And it's been over in many, many ways. Like, yeah. And going back to the whole 12 thing, it's like, even though I would have never fit in, I would have got extremely bullied and all that stuff, and my situation was way too floppy. Even thinking about if I would have just got to go to school then, it's like I sometimes still do have like the thought, if I would have got to go, would I at least maybe have one friend, even with all the BPD? Well, no, I would have had another BPD friend probably, because that's usually the people that I attract anyways, other BPD people. And then we like, it's like, let me not even go into that, but it's like, would I have at least made one friend that I would like maybe still have if I wouldn't have been in all these like isolating situations? And it's like, those are definitely the things that came to mind even before I escaped, but especially since escaping, because it's like you really get the time to just sit and think about things. Like you can actually think and have like thoughts and ponder without constant torture and trying to survive this and be worried about eating and different things like that once you're out the situation. That kind of depends though, because like some people, they get out here and they, depending on where they're at or like what choices they make, the situation can go really, really left when it comes to being homeless or whatever. But I'm not even going to get into that. Just for me personally, and for many people, it's like a time to be at peace and finally be safe and finally be able to sleep and just be able to think about things. Not that I didn't think about these things before, because like even, this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but when I got put in the Jim Crow self-confined placement, long story, there was even this whole situation where I got in trouble because I had pretty much got on the bus to go to my old school that I only went to for 3 months, if even that, before I got put in like another long story abuse situation and I wasn't allowed to go. And I of course got in trouble because I wasn't supposed to be at the school or in the school or on the campus, but I just really wanted to like go to school and like be around people my age and stuff like that. And that's a long story, but there was that. There was even a situation after running when I was in Cali, and like I would like go sell candy near the Santa Cruz High School. Well, yeah, pretty much on the campus, because there was a bus stop on the campus. But I would stand there and like try to sell candy. I didn't know that was not the school for that. I don't know why I kept forgetting that these were like rich people and that nobody's about to like buy candy from the quote unquote bum black kid. But anywho, I don't know why I thought that would work, but there was that. And like I remember there was this one time before I figured out different places to go to get food, I was trying to like get some of them to like give me their school lunch. I didn't know that they had to pay for the school lunch, because like I had never lived in that type of area. I had never lived in like a rich place. I didn't know they paid for the school lunch. If I would have known that, I would have never asked, but I definitely wasn't able to get it. Like one girl, she thought that maybe I went to the school, and I remember she saw me one time like downtown and she wondered why I never came back to school again. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess technically I was school age, but I wasn't in school. And she was like, how come you never came back to school after that one day? That was kind of funny, but it's like, I just think about that stuff. And definitely, I guess, as I get older, it's kind of weird to even talk about, because people are like, okay, move on by that. You're too old for that now. But it's like, I don't know, man. I just try to not, like, cry thinking about it. Okay, so I'm trying to not cry, like, too much, but because I've never, like, even on the abuse evidence channels, I never, like, well, no, I did cry in that one video where, like, I was getting, like, turned in to, like, the police the first time I tried to escape. Long story, but other than that, I never cried in any of the abuse evidence videos, which is actually pretty funny, to be honest, because, like, I don't know. I think I was too, like, I was too numb for most of it, and some of it was kind of funny, some of the situations, but I just feel like it's kind of, like, I mean, I don't want to offend people that do that, but I just feel like it's kind of, like, I don't know, I feel like all my channels kind of come off as like attention seeky anyways, and so I never really like the whole crying on camera type stuff. I typically don't, but I guess I have to be splitting enough, because like certain personalities or MPDs are gonna hold emotions, and so like I have to be split in to a certain extent to even feel any of my emotions, because I typically don't feel anything really. Not even on some like numb type stuff, but just like I've always kind of been alexithymia-y. I know that's not a word, but anywho, like, I don't know though. I'm probably gonna make the video public. I made it unlisted because, like, I don't even know, something about it just felt kind of embarrassing, but I don't even know what it was. But I titled it Realization of the Ages. And I talk about, like, different realizations. Like, you're kind of, like, told to, like, hold on to dear life if you even make it anywhere near there till 18 or maybe even older than that, and then you can like have a life in a quote-unquote childhood. I don't even believe in the whole concept of a child, but you're told to do that. But then it's like, especially if you're a street kid, even if you're younger than 18, but especially like, I won't even say especially, just really in general. And if you're in foster care, you always know this, unless you have cognitive dissonance. You know that, like, it's such bullcrap, though, because it's like, realistically, unless you have, like, some older, like, guidance type giver person, role model, whatever, to, like, protect you or whatever, you will never, ever be a kid unless you're somebody's kid. And that's not even really the point, though. That's kind of irrelevant, actually. That's not even really, like, the main point. Because the age doesn't even matter. Because, like, I even think about it, like, something I've been thinking about a lot as well is, like, hold up, I have to take my headphones off because I can't even hear myself think. I know it doesn't make any sense, but like, I've been thinking about a lot lately, and even before I ran, how there's just certain things about me and certain issues, I guess I could say, that I've always had that, like, I was made to feel like I had to, like, fix, or that I would eventually, like, grow out of. But I'm like, it's definitely like, this is literally just like how I am type stuff. Like, I remember when I was elementary age, and even like past that to a certain extent, I kind of felt like, okay, so like, if I wasn't like hypersexual and all that, then like people will like me. So once I fix this, then that'll be, then like I'll be able to like make friends or whatever. And it's like, nope. Not that I'm really like, I mean, I'm not even in the situation to really do that, but I mean, not that that's what I really want to do, because like, it started years ago. Well, I won't even say that, but definitely like, once the whole thing of me like blocking everybody at 14, getting over the whole situation with my old abusive friend Addie, who did come back off and on, another long story. I think I re-uploaded that video here actually, but I'm not going to go into that. It was like around that point in time that I really realized that like, I needed to leave this whole codependent friend bullcrap alone and focus on me and actually surviving and getting through what I had going on, and stop focusing on a whole bunch of people that didn't like me anyways. But like, even by, I guess I could say 15 especially, I really started to not like most people I meet. Or maybe even after that, but especially now, that's like really how I am. And it's not even like some quote-unquote pride type stuff. It's like, honestly, when you're really about wanting justice, wanting to help yourself, wanting to help other people, wanting a better situation for yourself and people you know, and you just have certain realizations. Like, even, like, I remember when I was 8 and I was in like 3rd grade, I had a girl tell me I was a conspiracy theorist. Stupid terms like that. But it's like, when you have certain realizations, just due to the things that you've experienced yourself about the world and how people really are, that people pretend that they're not like, you really can't even do all that buddy friend bull crap. You can't even have a conversation with the average person. So it's like, it doesn't even really matter, and I don't even know why I sometimes do these like what ifs. What if I had a family? What if I was like friendly and buddy with people again? And like, I don't even know why I think about that stuff sometimes. But especially like, I even mentioned in the Miss S and J videos, which I think is actually titled truth of chronic crap, truth of the cycles of life, something like that. It's something like that. The part 1 and part 2 I'll put in the description if I remember. I talk about the whole thing where Jay was talking about she was never around young people or babies, and like when she was like really, really young, she lived in like a racist town and she was adopted by a racist lady, so none of the kids would play with her because different racial slurs they would call her. And then she was locked up in a cash for kid system placement all the way until 21, and a whole bunch of stuff, and how like pretty much she was talking about how like young people scare her and she can't even tell the difference between somebody who's a teenager and somebody who's in their 20s and stuff like that, and how they all scare her. She's elderly, and how like she was sleeping behind this church. I'm not even gonna go into that, all the bullcrap I can say about that. And they had a daycare, and the daycare would open up in the morning, and how she was walking from behind there, 'cause she would try to leave before the daycare started so nobody would see her or whatever, and the kids were saying hey to her. She said that she just ignored them and didn't even say anything because they scare her. And I mean, it sounds weird, I could get how it sounds weird, but that's honestly how I've always felt, even when I was like way younger. I have too much mucus built up, but when Jay was talking about this, the lady that she was talking to me as well, but there was another lady there that she was talking to, and the lady had like a scared look on her face, because she's like one of those people with like a lot of essay stories that is I guess I could say male-centered, and a lot of people, they don't want to accept the, like, especially like where I'm at now, like most of the guys, they like their own kids and stuff, and they're just like, or to make a long story short, they like dudes and they like kids, pretty much. And so pretty much one of the types of people that would be like, maybe if she was younger anyway, she'd be like a dronophile person probably. They're like so sexual predator centered, and they chase those types of people, but then they'll like try to act like somebody else that's just like talking about certain experiences or whatever that they have. They'll act like, oh, that person is so suspect, but meanwhile they're friends with all the real predators. It's really annoying. There's a lot I could say about those types of people, which I actually talked about like 2+ years ago in my video. I think it's titled The Issues That You Run Into with Certain Types of Homeless Women, but this really isn't even just a homeless woman thing. There's actually a lot of women that are like that. They're also the type that'll like run and tell all your business, and even your age or how old they think you are to all their chomo friends. But anywho, to get back to the point, I get what she meant, and I've always felt that way actually. Like I even noticed when I was a lot younger, when it comes to the MPD things, that like I had to like do more chameleon effect and splitting and what's the other word? I said it earlier. Crap, hold up. Oh yeah, masking type stuff around people my age, because I just never really did get along with them. And that's why like even now, I don't know why I sometimes even like want to pretend that I even care about the friend thing, because it's like I don't even really like anybody, like realistically. And then it's like they'll probably just eventually like do or say something, and then I'll just start splitting, and then it'll be whatever, and then I'll probably just like block them or end up blocking and unblocking them or whatever. It's really interesting, because it's like I don't even care for it, but then it's like sometimes I think about it, and then it's like still the realization that like this is really it, that my life is like really over. Like I've been to it. Like even when I was 16, I remember I was texting this lady that I had met when I was sleeping outside the IHOP or something like that. Or no, I don't think it was IHOP, I think it was somewhere else, I don't remember, but I remember like she did like talk to me for a little bit, and I remember I was telling her that my life was over, and she was like, you're only 16, and it's like, it doesn't matter. My life had been over in a lot of ways, and it doesn't have to be like an end-all be-all like I've already said, but like in a lot of ways it's just already been over. And it's just whatever. It's not like I can change anything. But I do think about it, and it's like, I don't know why. It's like, even though I know that I wouldn't want to do the buddy thing, I don't relate to most people. And it's like, I used to relate to older people, but that's even changing now, because it's like, most of the elderly people I come in contact with, they're like on chomo type stuff. So it's like, I can't even do that anymore, because they're talking about my feet looking nice and I'm beautiful just like their grandkids, and just weird stuff, and they're all Marine Kingdom agents. So it's like, that doesn't even work out anymore. Like, I used to get along with men more because of like a lot of women trauma type stuff, but like the few months that I've been here, like, they screwed that up. So it's like, I can't have Jack, apparently. I can't have Jack Diddley, I guess. But yeah, so, like, I don't even know. And like I say all the time, I've said since I was 6 that I didn't want to live long. I was never the type of person that was scared of getting old. I don't even, like, I'm in the reality of it. I already know that, like, you don't have to be old to pass away. In fact, the new generation they're passing away faster than the older one. So it's like, I've never been into that. I know that due to the drugs I was forced on, I've been chronically ill since I'm 14. I've cured a lot of my issues, but it's like, I know that, like, other than, like, I've been miraculously still alive and stuff, but it's like, I know realistically that with the issues I have, I'm not guaranteed to live that long. It's a miracle that I'm even alive right now still. So it's like, I'm not guaranteed to even make it till 30 anyways. It's a miracle I haven't already had a stroke or something. Maybe I haven't, I just don't know. So, due to the iatrogenic, like, hypothalamus issues and metabolic issues and stuff, all of that. So it's like, yeah, I'm not guaranteed to live that long. I never did want to live long, so it's not like that whole I'm scared of getting older type. It's not even any of that. I've never been that type of person, luckily. I never cared about any of that. It's just like the I think, like I've said before, it's like, I've already realized all these things years and years and years ago, especially by 14. But it's like, I'm just constantly hit in the face over and over again with the same realizations. But I think what it is now, since being homeless, is that now I'm at the point where now I really have to accept these realizations that I've had since 12 and 14 and even 9 and stuff. Now I'm at the point where I really have to accept these things and stop knowing them but trying to pretend that it's not the reality. Like, I even had this girl telling me about how she doesn't tell people about her business and her situation anymore. I'm out of breath, but she stopped doing that at, like, I think she said 3rd grade or something like that, because she realized she got nothing out of it but people knowing her business. I don't even know if that came out right. She realized that she got nothing out of it but people knowing her business, because I feel like that kind of blurred together. And it makes me think about how, like, when I was younger and before running, like, I was talking to people in support groups that definitely helped me a lot. Like, people that watch my abuse evidence videos and, like, give me feedback and help me with the gaslighting and stuff like that. I would talk to people that would do stuff like that for me. And I would even, they would even talk to me about their situations and stuff like that. And I would wonder where, like, other people didn't want to, like, talk to actually decently safe people about their situations. And it's like, it even reminds me when I was in the Cash for Kids system placement, the last one, the Jim Crow self-confined placement, and, like, the other kids would wonder why I would even talk about the fact that I shouldn't be in the placement, and why I would even go on rants about how I should get to be in school and I should be allowed to be in school and stuff like that. They didn't even get why I would even still do it. And it's funny because it's like, I knew more about what was going on than most people ever find out who go through those types of situations or are in those types of situations. I had pieced together the whole human cash cow system, as I now call it, by 14. And it's like most of those people, I mean, some of those kids aren't even alive. Like one of the My Shine kid, I made a video during the evidence channels about how he passed away even back then. And he was always saying that he knew he wouldn't make it till 18 and stuff like that. He definitely had a spirit of death over him. And of course, I mean, definitely, because he was from Chicago at that. So, but anywho, like, even though I knew what was going on, I still tried to, like, act like, I still sometimes tried to do the whole pretending that, like, I could talk it out, pretending that somebody cared, pretending this, pretending that. And I think now what it is that, like, especially once you really get out here and you have nothing but your own thoughts, some of the time, especially while I was still laying low, like, I spent a couple of days, like, living on a cliff at one point when I was in Cali, and it's like, I just have to accept things, but it's like, it's just so much to even accept. Like, this is really it. Like, even, I even think about how, like, it's like one day you escape, and you're 16, you're 17, you're maybe even younger than that, and it's like, you're focusing on laying low till 18, but then you look up and you're almost 30, and then it's like, okay, what in the world? Like, that's also pretty scary. Honestly, I probably will make the realization of the ages video public. And it's like, I don't even know what to say about it. It's like, what in the world, actually? And nobody's ever gonna give a crap about anything. And some people accept that younger. But, like, I regret that I even started making the Abuse Evans videos sometimes. I regret that I even started making videos and it became the coping mechanism that it has became. Like, I remember when I was laying low before I found places with, like, Wi-Fi and stuff, I would sometimes, like, make videos and then or just do audio recordings, then I would just delete it. I would even do that during my abuse as well sometimes, because, like, sometimes so much stuff would happen, like, I would have to delete some other videos to record the really, really bad thing that was happening at that point in time, because I needed storage space for that, and there was a lot of stuff with that, and I honestly kind of regret it, and it's just like, I don't even know anymore. Like, I never did consider myself religious anyways, really. But it's like, even since being out here, especially the past few months, I've had more time to, like, really think about that. Especially with the fact that you get treated so poorly by religious people as the street kid or a homeless person in general. And then thinking back on, like, other things that have happened. The mind games and the getting robbed since 14 and the whole I'm gonna be your mentor type stuff that would happen, and then people, like, up and disappear because nobody really wants to be in that position. And I never asked for it either, so it's not like I was, like, running around asking people for stuff or begging people or any of that. And then it's like, I mean, homeless people aren't even allowed in or near religious organizations. Then there's all the racial stuff with that as well. And it's like, I just have became more fed up with that and those types of people as well. I mean, a lot of people have, to be honest. And it's just like, so many things, it's just like about accepting it now, but it's like, I don't want to accept it. And, like, especially, like, in my recent video that's like an hour plus long, titled Success Isn't Evil, something 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 something. Like, those were a lot of thoughts that I've been having a lot the past couple months, and there's something I wanted to mention but I forgot. Oh yeah, but I remember now. I was thinking, like, maybe I have to accept a lot of other stuff, but I don't want to accept that, like, this is going to be it. Because it's like, with the health issues I have, and just in general with, like, the situations, I'm not guaranteed to even live that much longer. And it's like, I would at least want to accomplish the things that I was born to do, and do one of the things that I really wanted to do when it comes to, like, things that are considered the stereotypical matrix form of success. I at least want to do, like, some of those things before, like, dying. And I mean, I would at least, like, I didn't care about it much, but it's like, I really don't have the help, really, for, like, all this vagabond bull crap. And it's like, I realized that the more I got out of the gaslighting about how sick I actually am, the more I realized I really don't have the health for all this constantly walking around type stuff. Although luckily I'm in like a position where I can be more stagnant, I guess I could say. It's not like in Cali where I was like constantly running around because I had people constantly calling the cops on me for walking down the street and stuff and sleeping like in Cali. But it's like, I don't know, I don't want to accept certain things that I shouldn't have to accept. I don't want to accept that like I'm just gonna like die out here and all that. I don't really want to accept that part. I mean, if it's true and it's whatever, but it's like certain things I have to accept, certain things I really don't want to. Now I'm biting my fingernail. That's a sign of like some stress. Going back to the girl I mentioned who I'm pretty sure turned 18 this month. And like I always say, I don't like tell different stories to like make fun of people or anything. Not that I feel like anything I'm about to mention could really be like a way to like try to be rude about anything, but I'm just saying in general, because I do often talk about a lot of things that revolve around me, people I know, people I have known, stuff like that. Anywho, so we definitely like left off on some really drifty terms as I talk about in the Draw to File videos, but I definitely do worry about her for a lot of reasons. Like I think like, well, has she probably already ran off into the sunset with some chomo? Is she about to? Or even just thinking about like how she felt, because she's one of the many people I mentioned when I've talked about different people I know that like didn't expect to live as long as they have. And in fact, this is the girl that I mentioned before when she was like I'm turning 17 soon, and that sounds scary, that sounds serious. And I mean, yeah, when you spend your life isolated, being I don't know what I can and can't say, but I'll never be monetized anyways, not that I wanted to. So being sexually exploited, being abused in any ways, neglected. Somehow she already knew how to drive by 12. I can't remember. I think she said somebody taught her. And I remember I would always talk about how I can't drive, and she would be like, it's easy, you just drive. And anywho, that's something else I was actually thinking about earlier as well. But I don't want to forget what I'm trying to talk about right now, going off into a rant as usual. So it's like I think about like even how things are going to end up with her. She had a similar situation to this boy that I mentioned, the quote-unquote love of my life, who pretty much has been like hidden homeless, being thrown around since his mom passed when he was maybe 14, maybe younger than that. I remember the song he was singing that he made where I think he was 16 or 17 at the time, and he was like, I wish my mom was here to see me. His mom hated him. A lot of people fall into that cognitive dissonance after their abuser dies. But anywho, but look at me now. I'm a grown ASS man, and I mean, yeah, when there's just no such thing as a childhood, pretty much. Like none of that stuff is real. But anywho, like I just worry about how she's been feeling. Like I remember that lady I mentioned before on her, I think her 27th birthday. And how she pretty much just went into like a full-on breakdown crying, and the realization that you're never going to be anybody's kid, that you're never going to have a family, nobody's ever really going to give a crap about you, nobody ever cared. Then you'll sometimes go into these like lies where you'll tell yourself, if I was younger, people would care. No, they wouldn't. You've been in this situation since you were your whole life. You've been getting karate chops since you were 5. You've been homeless since you were 15. Nobody ever cared. Nobody ever will care. But some people fall into that. I remember her and other people would tell me back in Cali, people care more about you because you're younger. That's not true. And it's never gonna... I get why they fall into that. I'm not even gonna blame them. Like, I even remember something I mentioned back during my abuse evidence videos where I talked about the whole thing with the teacher lady in Matilda that would, like, swing the kids around by their hair and stuff. And one of the things about that is that you hate kids because you never got to be, well, I don't even say the kid thing. You hate quote-unquote children because you never got to be a quote-unquote child. Or you fear them because you never got to be one, or you never got to, you were never able to get along with them or whatever in the world, or you got bullied or whatever. But yeah, I hope she's doing okay. I say that knowing that that's probably not the case, but crap, I remember when I was talking to her one time about something and she was like, well, geez, is there ever anything good going on? And it's like, well, I mean, I could say the same thing to you, but yeah. I guess not, though. Maybe that's like the realization, but it's like, it makes me think about something that this guy said to me, where he was like, life is really just to be lived. Nobody really has this like song to go along with when it comes to life. Which I know what they meant by that. I feel like that was kind of a weird way to say it, but I get it. Like, I mean, there definitely is like a purpose that there's supposed to be to life, but I do feel like for many people, you just survive for as long as you can until you die. I feel like that's like often how that goes. You either make it past 13 or you don't. You either hold on to dear life till 18 or you don't. And yeah, so like I just think about different people who just like they don't really know what their next move is gonna be. I don't really know how else to put it, but like I remember when I was talking to this person once, crap, I could already tell way before it happened that their mom was gonna end up ODing. Not the boy, but the girl. And like even then, like I was worried about like what would end up happening and like would she end up in the system. Luckily, one of the mom's exes ended up quote unquote adopting her. I'm not gonna go into that, but like I even remember like me and her were once talking about like the possibilities of what could happen. Like would she get like kicked out or something at 18 or whatever, and hopefully not. But it's like, no, that reminds me of something I forgot actually. I did want to mention this, but then I started like dissociating too much, and this even goes into something else. Like, a lot of people are in, like, these infantilization abuse situations where they're not allowed to, like, they're not allowed to work a job. Then there's also the ageism and economic side to that, and racial side. Their parents won't teach them how to drive, different things like that. And it's like, I even think about when, due to my situation, people feel like I should have way much more than I really should. Like, as I always talk about the whole street kids aren't seen as kids thing, people expect you to have stuff that they would never expect the average person your age to have. They expect you to have things at an age where, like, some people haven't even had their first job. They expect you to have all types of stuff. Like, I even use screenshots from this one completely unrelated video where people were just like mad about the 20-year-old tech bros and talking about these kids think they know something. And also especially this one screenshot of either these couple where they were like, if he's 19 with a house and with an apartment and a car, then in a truck, then he just has supportive parents. People always assume that like some people don't really like do their own work for what they have, but people just don't expect that type of stuff unless you're a street kid. Like, they even expect you to have an apartment at ages where it's either really not legal or just where nobody will rent to you. And I know, like, in certain demographics, people may say otherwise, but it's like everybody's not like the 20-year-old, 19, 17-year-old tech bro where, like, yeah, somebody wouldn't mind renting to you because you really, really have the money to, like, afford the place and they don't have to worry about, like, you not having somebody to sign with you or whatever because they know that you can really pay it. Like, everybody, the average person isn't, like, in that type of situation. But anywho, I think about also the issues of like with foster kids or being a street kid or just being dumped out, but you've never been like taught those things that are pretty much basic and vital in the Matrix. Like no one's ever taught you how to drive. I talk about it all the time since the abuse evidence channels, especially when I would mention stories of people I've met or with my old quote-unquote stepmom, how like a lot of people, they first learned how to drive from some chomo because they never had parents to teach them that. And I don't want to have to run off with some person and have a whole bunch of bullcrap happen over being taught basic vital things that I should have been taught by like a parent or something years and years and years ago, really. Because I mean, a lot of people, they get their driver's license thing at 14. But yeah, so there's that. There's something else I wanted to mention, but I forgot really quick. It even makes me think about the whole young hoes trend, I guess I could call it, that people are talking about, and how like people are saying that guys were making jokes about it till they realized that they were quote unquote young hoes too. When I hear that term, I really just think about some old sexual predator anyways, really, that like expected to get some type of girlfriend / kid that he could boss around and get to do whatever he wanted to do, like clean up for him and fold his clothes. That's a really common situation, obviously. That's what really comes to my mind when I hear young hoes. But I also think about the infantilization abuse and stuff like that some people that a lot of people have went through, where like they were sabotaged and not taught basic things, and so now they're like the quote unquote young hoe that doesn't know how to cook and doesn't know how to wash dishes. And some of that stuff is kind of funny though. The young hoes cook everything on high. I haven't even been in a situation to be able to cook in like a long time, but I mean, I started cooking for myself at like 8 or 9, but I did start to realize after a while that I really couldn't cook. Like I could cook like steak and fish and bologna and scrambled eggs, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized I really couldn't cook. I feel like I didn't really know how to explain it, but I'm not even going to that. And young hoes wash everything at once. They don't like separate laundry colors and stuff like that. But I also think about like when it comes to actually finding places that you could actually go to wash clothes for free, like resource centers. You can't really do all that different load stuff. I never liked that type of stuff anyways. I always feel like it was extra, but like you really don't even have time for all that. Although I try to like keep everything to a minimal, so I just have one pair of pants, one pair of basketball shorts. I have 2 jackets, I have 2 jackets, and I was donated 1 coat. Luckily, before like it got really, really cold, and yeah, so I don't like having a lot of stuff anyways. But I know in the past I did sometimes have more stuff. And I think about all that. Like one lady in her video, she like boiled all of it down to living in a rushed society. But I really think about the fact that a lot of people go through these different types of abuse where they're like infantilized, where they're not allowed to learn basic things, they're not taught basic things, so their abusers can try to trap them in the house. This is something a lot of people talk about, like not being allowed to learn how to drive, not being allowed to work a job, to trap them in abuse situations, not being allowed to use a microwave till 35, and their parents showering them till 45. That's also a form of covert SA as well. Being forced to like take showers with your parents at 20 and 14. In fact, I even was flipping through the Jeanette McCurdy book for actually the second time. It came out a little after I ran away, funnily enough. And I was flipping through it more recent, like some weeks ago, and I stumbled across the page where she was talking about how her mom was still wiping her butt at 14, and yeah, so the typical Mormon Jezebelic mom. But I don't know what to say about that. I'm pretty sure I said it before. Jeanette McCurdy's mom really makes me think about Ruby Frank in some ways, especially with the Mormon part. But anywho, okay, this is really hopefully going to be the last thing I throw in. And then I think about things I talk about pretty often with toxic positivity and the whole be grateful thing. And that's the thing. I've always been really glad about escaping my previous situation, especially when I look back on the abuse evidence videos and even that comment about my escape or someone's response to my escape that I just made a post about earlier. The whole I don't really remember what it said, but like all this stuff reminds me of even more reasons why I should be glad that I got out, and like it reminds me of how hard I fight just to get out here and be quote unquote homeless. Not that I ever forget or I ever have cognitive dissonance or any of that. I know I don't have anywhere to go back to and all that. Luckily I got over my cognitive dissonance way before ever escaping, before I even knew I would escape. And there wasn't a lot of like emotional stuff in the family system, so luckily I didn't like quote unquote love anybody or think anybody quote unquote loved me, so I didn't like have to deal with that thing that some people deal with that I still think is cognitive dissonance, where they claim that like they don't really want to leave their abusers because they quote unquote love them. Luckily I didn't have any of that mess going on. So like I'm glad that I'm out here, and like for many people this is the most free, peaceful and safe we've ever been. Like not only do I say that I get the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life out here, but I could also say I get the only sleep I've ever gotten in my life, especially since leaving Cali, since the laws against homelessness started getting worse, and like it was even harder to go to sleep anywhere without being woken up by a cop with their hand on their gun and a flashlight in your face and threatening you and all that stuff. I haven't had any of that stuff happen since I've been in the state that I'm in now. I could count the whole Shane situation, but I feel like I really shouldn't even count that, because that was about sexual harassment and some Shomo type stuff when he had the cops helping him harass me. So that wasn't the typical situation I'm used to when it comes to like getting stalked and chased around and harassed by cops. That was kind of different, so I don't even count that, to be honest. So it's like, I mean, to get to the point, I am grateful about being out here, but like I always mention, one of the things about it is that you're still seen as like on the bottom of the caste system, so you're still going to be tortured or just abused and mistreated by random people and law enforcement. Like, one of the things about it is that you may see yourself, because you are, as somebody who's like trying to find peace and safety and escape your abuse, but to law enforcement and other people out in society, you're just the lazy bum criminal, and depending on where you're at, it could be even worse, and then you're seen as the quote-unquote dangerous mentally ill drug addict bum. But that can really depend on where you're at with how deep people go into that accusation. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I could try to be grateful for being in the most safe and peaceful point in my life, which can get pretty unsafe depending on like where you are, because like for example in Cali, the constant 911 calls, the fact that in places where higher homeless populations, law enforcement and random citizens literally just drive around and look for homeless people to harass and torture, and like, I mean, finally being in a place where like I can walk into a public place in a library and just go in there without having to worry about being banned or harassed the whole time because they don't want homeless people in there, or worrying about like going to use a public bathroom and then having someone, staff or store owner or something like that at even a McDonald's or something, like threatening to come in the bathroom to get me out because they don't want homeless people inside the store at all. Which is really interesting, because if I wasn't quote unquote homeless, and like some grown man or woman or really anybody was threatening to come in the bathroom to take me out, and I wasn't in the situation I was in, that would literally just be sexual harassment or even probably full-blown assault. But that, which is pretty bad because I already have so much bathroom trauma from living with my mom. So yeah. And then what else was it? What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just like, it's like I wanted to see the good in the situation, but it's like even when I see the good in the situation, there's always the people that'll be like, oh well, that just means that you want to be out here because you're acting like this is a good thing, and that means you're maybe mentally ill and you don't know that you're being a lazy bum, stuff like that. It's like people want to do the toxic positivity stuff, but there's always somebody that's going to counteract me seeing the good side of the situation. And also one of the annoying things about that whole, oh, so you must like being out here then since I'm seeing the good side and the positive side of the situation and like why I'm out here in the first place. One of the things about some of their accusations is that it's like, it doesn't really matter even if I did think that like being out here is necessarily a good thing or safe because I don't have a choice anyways. And that's one of the things that a lot of people like pretend isn't the reality, which I wasn't even really going to go there originally, but I also think about that as well. But that's kind of irrelevant. It's like it's a kind of like how I've never saw myself as like poor or broke, and I still really don't, but I constantly, especially back in Cali, had people trying to like shove that down my throat that I'm like poor and broke, but I never really cared or thought about that. I remember like, it reminds me when that lady said the only reason that I don't see my situation as bad is because I'm a kid, but I mean, it's not like I'm 5 or something. I mean, I see the situation for what it is, but there's no point in like trying to do all this pretending that there's all these other options anyways. Like pretty much people just try to act like I'm just like detached. I like being out here because I don't want to do what I'm quote unquote supposed to do. Like I even have options or like that would even make a difference. Because I'd be getting paid $7.50 an hour if I was able to get hired. So, but then the other thing is that people just trying to like make it seem like I'm in denial, but when I'm not being positive, I guess, about the situation, then I have people tell me things I already know. Like there's plenty of people that would want to be in my position. Well, yeah, I know that. I know plenty of people, as I mentioned before, that like would want to be out here to get out their situations. I mean, that's why I'm out here. That's why a lot of people end up out here, because you have to escape something. And I know how hard I fought to get out here as well. But it just goes into the thing that like people are always playing games with themselves and each other anyways. And there's always going to be a lot of mind games and manipulation with any and everything. So there's really no point in talking about anything. And it seems like the only thing you can do is die, but you can't even do that because death doesn't even really exist.